Hi, I'm Alex Stoos, founder of Stoos Customs, where we're all about brutal simplicity. My journey has taken me all around the world, where I've met the most incredible people in the industry. I'm back now in Cape Town, South Africa, where I've built the headquarters of Stoos Customs. I would like to invite you in and show you how my amazing team and I customize, modify, and service these beautiful machines. Welcome to another episode of Stoos Crafted. In this episode, we'll be taking a look at my passion project, which is based off a Harley-Davidson engine. Everything else has been handcrafted at Stoos Customs. Chris and I modify FXDR to obtain the maximum performance with a 131 big bore kit. Barry, aka the Ink Pirate, visits the shop and we discuss his love for motorcycles, pipes, and pen ink art. And finally, we'll show some highlights from this year's Stoos birthday bash. So, sit back, relax, and enjoy this episode. Harley-Davidson got its all-American start in 1903, at the dawn of the motor age. The story began in a small shed in Milwaukee, Wisconsin, where two friends combined bicycles with small motors. While the test was mostly successful, the bike was unable to climb hills without the rider providing pedal assistance. But Harley and the Davidson brothers did not give up. They immediately began working on a new and improved machine. They created a bigger engine and a loop frame design. After completing the prototype in 1904, they entered the bike into a local motorcycle race at the State Fair Park, where it placed fourth. Now that they had a working model, Harley-Davidson went into production only 4 months later. The company has built groundbreaking bikes, delivering motorcycles to the police force, racing them on the dirt track, providing a simple alternative to the automobile, and serving in both world wars. Harley-Davidson has become one of the world's largest motorcycle manufacturers and an iconic brand widely known for its loyal following, a brand that has captured the hearts of millions around the world. So I've neglected my personal build a little bit, but now I've decided to dedicate 1 week a month. I'll just be purely working on my own build. The next step is to design and fabricate the fuel tank. It will start life off with a foam that I will shape to the desired shape, and then once I'm happy with the angle and all the shapes, then I will manufacture it out of aluminium. So it's been another week of putting some time aside to work on my personal build. Managed to get to the tail section, so I'm designing a tail section that's sleek but also exposes the exhaust, so it stands out. And then the last one, I had the foam where I was creating the tank from scratch, and I don't know, this is the fourth or fifth tank I've been on with this build. I've had the biggest creative block coming to the tank. So anyway, after creating the shape and sanding it down, I just tossed it because it wasn't where I was at. And then I had this tank lying upstairs. It's off the 2018 Fat Bob. And I held it there. I was like, sure, I kind of like the lines of where I was going. So I chopped the back section and I welded in a new tunnel. So what I've decided is I'm just going to carry on building it and just follow it. And if I don't like it in the end, I can always change it. So that's where we're at for now. The next step I've got to do is I've taken MX style bars, which I'm actually going to machine sleeves over to bring this to a 1-inch diameter for all our controls that we have that are Harley, which is 1 inch. So I'm going to manufacture that and the risers, and that will be my next on my goal. I mean, doesn't this say, let's go ride and get into trouble? I mean, probably going to get arrested on the first ride out.
Okay, so this baby, we've got a 131 full build. There's quite a few extra modifications that we've had to do. One of them is the exhaust as well. The exhaust was way too small, so we've now made it much larger so that the increased air capacity can actually get out. So we're in the process of fitting the O2 sensors, welding the new taper cone on, and then also doing the finalizing on the tuning and auto tuning of the complete new software upgrade. Alrighty, so this is our welding machine. This is our earth cable. Obviously it's nice to have long cables like this on the machine, get all around the workshop. This is going to be attached to the welding table. Any raw material will be completely grounded and you can weld it in any position on the table, making life easier.
All right, the exhaust is all welded up. Just hand this over to Chris. All right, Chris, got the exhaust all sorted. So we're ready to rock. Just watch out, you might burn yourself. It's a little hot there.
Alrighty.
But yeah, ready to rock, bro.
Alright, so back with our exhaust. We've got the end cap in place and we're gonna, as precaution, stainless steel pop rivets it. It must be stainless because the aluminium ones just rip out. I think this bit is actually blunt. Alrighty, so the bit is slightly blunt and just going to give it a quick sharpen on here. It's a bit of a cheat rather than buying a new bit. It's important to get that angle right and then just get your rear edge lower than your cutting edge and then the bit will actually be pretty sharp and do its job. There we go. Okay, so stainless rivets are quite serious. They're a bit difficult to do it by hand. Luckily, we've got a little friend here to sort it out for us. Got the exhaust together. Got our new O2 sensors from our Thundermax kit. These are large 18 mils, so we had to weld these bungs in, make provision for them. And all the pop rivets are in, so now I can bang it on the bike and do a couple of test runs. And then once that's done, we'll obviously send it for ceramic coating and have it looking all pretty. Alright, sweet guys, so got the exhaust sorted on this one. All together now, ready for the test ride on that. So a little bit of a background on this one. Customer wanted a big bore upgrade. We opted for a 131. It was originally a 114. But we've taken it that step further, so we've actually used Screaming Eagle heads, throttle body injectors, coupled that with SNS 131 pistons and barrels. But then we've also gone with Barnards and a Scorpion clutch upgrade for the basket and the inner and the plates itself. Also with SNS cam chest and a high lift cam in this one, so this one's got a very aggressive cam. And a Thundermax ECU, and I've got to do the final tuning on the test rides and then she's ready for the road.
Barry, so welcome to Oil and Grind. This is the start of the new addition to Stoos Customs.
It's an honor, man. I'm happy to be here.
I must say, the one thing that caught my attention when I saw you roll up today was I thought you were on fire at first, but I realized there's just the smoke billowing out and you had a pipe in your mouth. How is this possible?
It seems I'm one of the only guys that smoke pipe while I'm on the bike. It's something I really love. In the past, this little cap wasn't on there, so I used to, all the ash used to go into my face. I'm like, there must be a better way.
Yes.
And being part of a pipe club, actually, believe it or not, one of the old professors gave me this. So I can put in some tobacco, get on my bike, and then hit the road, and I can smoke up to 45 minutes if I have to on it.
So you got an assortment of pipes. Obviously, this one is particularly just for riding.
Yes, you'll see this is quite a bigger bowl, that's also so I can go a bit longer.
Okay.
And then I've got like a pirate pipe, you know, Popeye. So this will be like when I'm at work and I want a quick break, you know. And it's also pocket pipe, so I just put it in my pocket, you know, and then I'm off.
Yes.
And then obviously you also get Craftsman, which is like this beautiful pipe, which is made by Charles Gossard. He's one of the best pipe makers.
Okay.
And it's got a beautiful briar, and a tooth there. And it's just one of those guys, you know, it's nice to support local craftsmen as
100%.
well. And yeah, this is my favorite pipe actually.
There was one you fabricated. You actually went on a course to learn how to manufacture a pipe.
Yeah, so Shaw also, because I'm like, I have to learn how to make a simple one. So you'll see we made this one, actually being a friend, but it's my first one, so I had to like do it. But it smokes, like the one guy says, if it's got 2 holes, it's a pipe, so yeah.
So you're a man of many talents, and now I can see where the name Ink Pirate came from. You're a pirate rolling down the street on your bike.
Definitely, and the ink part is the art part of what I do. Yeah.
That's how we actually found out about you. Was I remember when you sent me a picture of the R18 we built, and it's phenomenal. I want to call it pointillism, which I know is something else, but the work is insane.
Way back as a child, I inherited steel nibs. Back in the day when they still used to write and you had to dip the nib in the ink.
Yes.
So I inherited these nibs and I didn't know what they were. So I had to learn it was nibs to write with, but then I found out that you can draw with it. And that's where the fascination started. And this is a art that was usually used in the past, like 1800s, later on, and only black and white.
Yes.
And the techniques are different, but the detail is what I love about it. I only work in black and white, and also the hours can take anything from 60 to 200 hours, but that is the part that I like. It's the time it takes, it's the detail that you have to do. And I think it's worth it. Unfortunately, 200 hours to put a price to that usually struggles as an art piece, because for a, let's say A3, let's say it takes 70 hours, usually the price doesn't fit the amount of work.
But that's the crazy thing about art, is eventually you get somebody that loves your product, buys it and resells it, and then suddenly the price skyrockets through the roof.
That is correct.
So it's actually quite difficult to put a price on it.
I think the important thing about what I found is that the paper I used only supposed to be 100% cotton.
Okay.
Because I phoned the paper archives and they said, listen, cotton paper is the best because it keeps the ink and it can be preserved for hundreds of years.
And is it still like the base of the ink, is it still very similar to what they used many years ago?
It's definitely a bit different.
Okay.
I use black Indian ink. They used to make it from an oak tree. There's an insect that stings the fruit.
Yes.
And it makes a blackish powder that they used to cook up. So I only use permanent Indian ink because that infuses with the cotton paper and it just gives the best black, and it works. And the archival values of that is just incredible.
Sure, that is awesome. It's so good to see people doing this, because literally it's a dying art. Unfortunately, and that's why I'm interviewing here today, was you lost all your artwork in your studio burnt down, eh?
Actually, the evening that I finished the R18 artwork, it was a beautiful evening. I signed it and I went to sleep, and about an hour later something woke me up and I saw a fire in the garage.
Yeah.
And unfortunately, my studio, my artwork and the exhibition I was planning, everything burned out.
And you're saying it had about 20 years of your life in that studio?
Well, everything I inherited, like, because I grew up on a battalion, a military base, when I was growing up until I was 9, all the stuff I inherited from my dad was also in there, so that all burned out.
Man, that's crazy.
Tough times.
Yeah. Is there particular subjects you like to draw or paint?
Well, mostly I like mechanical things, or if you dream up, like steampunk is a good example. And I've done a few different things, like I've done wildlife. I worked with charities where I did a vulture, or I did a specific, like, for rhino poaching.
Yes, I remember you mentioning about the rhinos.
Yes.
Save the rhinos.
Yeah, so I did something out of a lot of poaching equipment.
Okay.
And that was one part. And I also love robotics, which I did a big robot with a kid with a remote control that controls it. And I also do a lot of fantasy art where I take anything and just put it together. It's like I did a specific old train that I found a picture of, and a coffee machine. So I did those, I combined it, and I've got a big steampunk coffee machine portrait that hangs in our office at the moment.
Awesome.
I only do black and white. And mostly where my love for steampunk or military stuff or things came from was where I grew up in the military base, where the tanks and the army time, that's where the helicopters, and it was just a brilliant time as a kid. Thankful I was a kid in the war times, but it's just all of those combined, my life stories and everything, you can see in my work.
It's always difficult to ask an artist which is your best and your favorite one, because you never know what the next one's going to bring. But what's the most memorable art piece you've done?
Funny enough, it's when I was a child. I found a picture where I drew this lion chasing a gazelle, But back then it was an amazing chase and everything. But when I look back, it was literally like a stick lion chasing a stick. But
I can see that, especially the level of your skills, you're going to go far, man. And I really hope to do some more bikes with you with the artwork and incorporate it into builds because your talent is awesome, man.
That's why I brought you a print of the one.
Oh man, okay, that's awesome, man.
So I'll sign it for you.
Oh, please.
With the nibs, the technique that I use, and then you can keep it and do with it what you want.
Well, I'm definitely going to frame it and put it in the showroom. And what's so cool is like a lot of the clients says that they might have a bar or a man cave that their bike's not in, and now they've got a picture of their other love on the wall. I've been, obviously with the new space, we've been trying to figure out artwork, and my brother-in-law, who I'm going in partnership with, we've gone through all these different images, and actually, funny enough, you sent it like, I think 4 or 5 days after we were discussing what we're going to put on the wall. And we've both decided that the R18 is going to get hand painted on the wall, so for the world to see.
That is brilliant. What an honor to have that done. Thank you.
And I'd love you to sign this, and then once this is up, sign the bottom of that artwork.
Let's do it.
Awesome. Shot.
Pleasure, man.
Hey, how's it guys? So update on my personal build. I've been fabricating the rider's pegs and forward controls, or adaptation plates. So what I've got here now is the shifter that I've fabricated out of 316 stainless, and that's gone on the custom control mount that actually bolts onto the derby cover and the primary cover. We've gone off with MX style aluminium handlebars with machined 1-inch inserts that go over to change diameter to 1 inch. And then we've gone with our Motor Gadget buttons with all the wiring inside the bars. And then we've got the R&S levers and the Stoos Customs grips and throttle housing. We're going to redesign the triple clamps. I'm not 100% sold on these, so Dwayne's busy designing new ones. We're going to machine on the new triple clamps, we're going to machine a slot. So the wiring actually comes down under and hidden under the tank, and we've got all the electronics will sit on the tank. So on this bike, I want it to be very simple and easy. If you need to get to anything, the tank 2 bolts pops off and you've got all the electronics for the ignition, turn signals and everything under the tank. All right, so an update on my personal build is we've got the bars fitted. We've machined and designed sleeves to take the 1-inch diameter controls. We've wired in the Motor Gadget buttons to go neatly through the bars. We've also designed a new top clamp that will house the speedo and the dummy lights. This will be your turn signals, your neutral light and your high and low. And then we did a nice little cutout where we'll machine this a plaque out of stainless steel with the build number on it. And that will go right here. The other thing we got into was the tank. So now I've stripped the tank, I've welded it all up. The next thing I want to do is I'm going to change the filler hole for the gas here, and I'm going to do the MX style filler cap just to give it that more aggressive look. And that's pretty much where we are at the moment with this build. The next step is I got to get to the seat pan. I've been holding that off, but I need to get to that, and that's my next objective. So during the build process, it's already been featured in its first coffee book, The Racer Within. So the Racer Within is all about the culture of motorcycling, from custom bike building to riding and going on adventures. It's a really awesome book. You should get a copy. So at Stoos Customs, we're all about hard work. But in November, we put the tools down and host the Stoos Birthday Bash. We start off with a ride out to an awesome location, and we invite everybody that's passionate about motorcycles to enjoy the day with us, from good food, good music, and good company. So this year's Birthday Bash started off in the Stoos Customs cul-de-sac with 120 bikes roaring down the street. This year we took the N1, headed to the R44, where we ended up at the Pit Stop Lodge for a few beverages and breakfast. So we just finished up at Pit Stop Lodge. We're going to head back to Stoos Customs where the party's going to begin. Got good beer, good food, so the day's just beginning. Have to get their attention somehow. On our arrival back, we had a live band, a DJ, and our sponsors provided awesome food, great drinks, and even dessert. Guys, thank you so much for coming out today. It really is overwhelming, the support Stoos Customs has. Me and my team have worked really hard at this, and the last 11 years have been phenomenal. And you know, without your guys' support, this wouldn't be possible, and I'm so grateful for every one of our clients. Next weekend is the Lightning Bolt. They've invited a couple of bike builders around Africa to take part. Winner takes all. It's sponsored by BMW, and it's just to show craftsmanship in the industry. And I've literally put my heart, my blood, and my soul into this. I hope you guys like it. Pull it up. This is named the XX. That's the Roman numerals for 20. We hand fabricated the frame, the exhaust, the triple clamps, the swing arm. The wheels were made in Joburg from BST. The seat was handcrafted by Daniel at Dead Crow. He does all our seats. Incredible work. I'm looking forward to next year's bash. It's going to be bigger and better, and I hope to see you there. In the next episode, I take a trip to Descriptive Art Collective, where I meet up with Kayla Devlin and see what goes into the craft of tattooing. My passion project makes its way to the prestigious Lightning Bolt competition, where I meet up with some of the best bike builders in South Africa, and we showcase what's been happening in the workshop.